Hi, my name is Starla, and I'm the founder of Unleashing Her. And we are a movement unleashing the divine feminine, the female, women, and girls of the world, free from misogynistic and patriarchal beliefs and values. Removing ourselves from this system really involves us identifying the basis and the root of this system. Narcissism is, I believe, at the root of all of this. This idea of some people, the psychopaths, sociopaths, that they are special and somehow more important than others. And they generally put themselves on pedestals, in positions of power, in positions where they can control and manipulate others with ease. We see about 1% of the population has all of the money in the world. We see about 1% of the population are narcissists by definition. So what does this mean? Well, narcissists really, they lack empathy completely. They don't think about humanity and their actions and the impact that those actions would have on others in the ways that most people do. So number one, you cannot expect a narcissist to think or behave in the ways that you do because they're just not wired that way. So how are narcissists wired? Well, they're wired for pleasure, for self-pleasure, for self-gratification, for the excitement of life. So one of the things that's I think easiest to spot when you're looking for narcissism is their inability to do anything outside of like exciting moments. So for instance, they're always taking romantic trips. They'll meet in a new city. They'll take you out for this magical romantic evening. They'll turn on all of the charm. They'll hold doors. They'll be very present in the moments when you are on vacation or off on an adventure somewhere and things are really exciting. And then when it becomes more intimate and you want someone just to hang out, watch a movie, ghost, like not available for that. So this is one big telltale sign of narcissist. So that makes us as empaths, or those of us that have been involved with narcissists in the past, makes us feel like we're special, right? Because wow, they took all this time and energy, they planned this whole weekend, the sex was so amazing, it was romantic and like on the bed and wild in the shower and like all of these things that we see in the movies or we see our friends or maybe hear about, and we think, oh, we should have that, we should be a part of that. So then when it happens, we're like, yes, this is it. But then when you really need them and you are looking for some empathy or some support or some emotional security or looking for anything outside of that romantic weekend, the excuses, the lying, the manipulation seems to kind of come into play in those moments. Narcissists have a lot of fantasies about success. They see themselves in positions of power. They see themselves as leaders. They long for and yearn for brilliance and wealth and like star power. And so they create these worlds for themselves that generally revolve around them. But they make it look like they are doing all these things for other people. They make it look like they're the good guy, the religious guy, the political activist, the social justice worker or advocate. But ultimately, when it comes to showing up for people in their real lives and the intimate relationships, they're not available. So there's sort of like that dichotomy there, and you start to see that in engaging with narcissists. They have a very high need for admiration. So constantly, posting their victories, posting all of their wins, their awards, all of the good things. But of course, none of the negative things are being shown or posted about or talked about even. Those things are sort of swept under the rug. And then of course, if you bring those things up, there's usually some sort of an attack, a deflection, bringing it around to something that you've done. Bringing it around to their feelings now about how you were feeling initially. So that is the game playing and sort of the circle that they keep you in. And they love playing these games. They love them. So it's not like, oh, drama, now I have to deal with this thing, and they're looking to avoid that. They thrive on the drama. It gives them attention. It gives them your energy. And because narcissists are energetic vampires, they sort of suck the energy out of the room. They take the limelight. They go into the most intimate places and they suck your energy. They create attachments through false stories and false games. And then they create these attachments. They find out what you like, what you want, all of these things, and then they, of course, never deliver them. So this game playing is what kind of keeps you on a hook. You're not sure anymore. Do you even know yourself? Can you trust your own thoughts? Because the way that you are perceiving it is now being deemed as not the truth, or being put down, or being flipped, so it's seen as something else. So this is the great, tactics, if you will, of narcissists. So, and then they love, if you do stand up for yourself, or you begin to call them on their stuff, is to, block you, deflect you, attack you, put you down, talk about you to everybody else, while claiming that they're on your side. Ultimately, what they're looking for, though, is the person that will meet their needs with the greatest ease. So they're looking for the easiest supply, always. So if you're difficult, if you're challenging to them, they will discard you sooner than others, because you're not making it easy for them to get their supply. So I wanted to talk about the narcissist specifically today. I wanted to really highlight those attributes. I mean, these are people who think that other people exist for them, exist for their pleasure, for their benefit, for their success. They use people. They use people to make them look good. They use people to, get them through school, to get them that job, to put them in that position of power. They don't get there all by themselves. And so that's another way to really tell if you're dealing with a narcissist, is to see, are they asking you to do things for them to benefit them that would, society probably would not agree with as a successful move. So those are things you can start to see where their integrity is just really, truly not in alignment with their, perceived values and the image that they're projecting. So they really do all of this, though, this whole thing, the game playing, the attention seeking, the gaslighting, the manipulation, the emotional abuse, the direct attacks on your vulnerabilities and your insecurities, if you've ever shared them with them. They're very good at picking up on those, though, and ultimately they're doing all of this to avoid their own insecurities. These people are highly, highly insecure. They were probably teased as little boys and girls. They were probably called names or abused by their families or put down by peers or people that they admire. And so then they're looking to achieve something, something other that's outside of themselves. And so they do that by seeking that energy from other people instead of building that up within themselves to be good people on their own. It's important that we begin as a society to know who the narcissist is, to know what narcissism is, how it works. They're very closely related to the domestic violence, to the rape, to the male entitlement, the male rights agendas that are constantly being played out. So, men really need to get their act together in regard to this, mostly because this narcissism plays out into violence. It plays out when they spin out of control into doing things that maybe they would not have done otherwise. And I see their behavior escalating and getting worse. I see them as they move, they get with younger and younger women, and they move in different ways. And I do want to say that I understand that not all narcissists are men. That's just the programming and the bigger paradigm in which we find ourselves. We know I'm sure all of us know a woman who is a narcissist. I have had my own path with being a narcissist and being in narcissism and needing to shed those in order to reveal my most authentic self. So I'm very aware of how these narcissistic tendencies show up, the tactics, the presenting, and ultimately the playing out of old patterning and behavior. And that's what we're doing right now on planet Earth. It's time for us to shed these old ideas of they're self-serving, and really start to step into a place where we recognize this in such a way, as an empath or as somebody who is just generally not a narcissist, to say, hey, that's narcissistic, and that's not going to work for the collective, that's not going to work for society. Calling that bad behavior out, making sure that they don't get that promotion, making sure that they don't get that job, making sure that you get in the way of that road that they're on to create success, because that ultimately is what really impacts, I think, their behavior the most, is when they really get called out and they have to stop and actually look at it. So I see that right now in a lot of the political environments, a lot of the conversations that are going on. Women are starting to see this and call this behavior out, and it's time. It is time for us to acknowledge that, and that is part of the work that we do with Unleashing Her, is really starting to tell the truth about what's happening in our relationships, what's happening in our environment, politically, in the schools, in our homes, and then getting really, really honest about that so that we can make the changes that we need to make. So narcissism, and narcissists, your day is over.